Get more out of every mile when you share the ride to work. With carpooling, you'll have time to relax, save money, and pick up new friends. Commuter Connections can help you find carpool partners who live and work near you, even if you're commuting just a few days a week. It's a free service. Carpooling. Every dollar saved, every friend made. Register for free carpool partner ride matching at commuterconnections.org or call 800-745-RIDE. That's commuterconnections.org.
Real skin results start with one daily ritual. Meet Daily Microfoliant from Dermalogica. This iconic exfoliating powder activates with water to gently polish away dullness and uneven texture. It leaves skin instantly smoother and more luminous while supporting your skin barrier. Formulated with professional expertise to deliver visible results daily, even on sensitive skin. Discover your healthiest skin today. Visit Dermalogica.com and use code SMOOTH at checkout for an exclusive gift with your $65 purchase.
I'm Logan Webb, and you're listening to TortureCast.
Swinging. There's a high drive. Deep into left center field. It's on its way. Adios! Pelota!
Let's go, Giants! SF Giants! Let's go, Giants! SF Giants!
A grand slam for Buster Posey's good friend.
A podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. Chad King, Eric Nathanson, and Willie Dills. This is the Torture Cast.
It's Thursday, April 16th, 2026, and this is episode 336 of the Torture Cast, the podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. I'm your host, Chad King, and hey, Eric's here with me. Willie's doing some other mediocre Golf Association stuff, but did you get your taxes in, by the way?
Of course.
Yeah, okay.
Of course.
I mean, I didn't want you to admit to a crime here on
tax fraud,
but
yeah.
I figured
I got my handled all that a few weeks ago.
Yeah, now that is not a fun process. We had more complex taxes this year, and we owed, and so it was like, oh. It's just rough to write that check, but it is what it is. It was almost as painful as watching the Giants, to be honest.
Fair enough.
Yeah, which is worse? The Giants are paying paying taxes. I'm not really sure. Yeah, it was not a good week. The Giants, I like to say, had a little bit of a meaty loss sandwich this week. They went 2-4 with wins on the bookends and 4 losses in a row in the middle. But the thing is, Eric, this is already their second 4-game losing streak in this young 19-game season. Like, that's not good. That is not good. And we're just waiting to talk about some better days for the Giants. But they lost 2 out of 3 at Camden Yards and then lost the first 2 of 3 in Cincinnati before mercifully winning today. And actually, it was a great, dominant win. And before we go down the sad hole, let's go up the happy hole. Whoa, that's a different podcast. They were very good today. I wouldn't say they were great, but they were very good. Obviously, the pitching is really what excelled with Landen Roupp carrying a shutout and a no-hitter into the 6th inning, and they did secure the shutout, and that was the only hit of the entire game. So the Giants one-hit the Reds, and the Giants scored late in the game too, and it was all your favorite kind of hits. It was all 2-out hits to score 3 runs to win 3-0. So it was nice. There wasn't too much drama on the bases in the 9th, but there was a little drama after the game. But yeah, I don't know. Just recapping the game, I only watched bits and pieces of it and then highlights afterwards. But kind of, what did you see? You saw Landen Roupp a lot more than I did today. What did you take away from his performance?
I am firm in the camp that I think Landen Roupp is a top of the rotation starter. He may be the Giants' best pitcher right now. I know Robbie Reyes started off really well, but Roupp just has such command, especially of that curveball, and he used it just beautifully all day today. He gets a 20-inch break side to side on his curveball. It's the most
I saw
invasive.
that. Yeah.
And it's just absolutely crazy, like how it's coming right at the right-handed hitter, and then it still gets into the strike zone. And he did a good job of pitching the Reds inside. It's fun to watch. I really think he is a top-of-the-line starter. He could be number one on some teams within a year. He's that good. Pabst tweeted about it. If you take out his 2 starts after he came back from some elbow soreness last year, his ERA is under 3. He's looked pretty dominant. So Landen Roupp carried them today. 1 hit all game. Yeah. And I think that hit got erased on a double play. Like the sequence of the game was yeah, exactly. The sequence of the game was the bottom of the 6th on top of the 7th. Reds finally got a hit to lead off the 6th, and then got 2 runners on when Friedel was hit by a pitch. And then Ellie De La Cruz with 1 out, though, grounded into a double play. And then to lead off the top of the 7th, Arias reached on an error by De La Cruz. So it was a bad sequence of events for Ellie De La Cruz right there, and it opened up the door for the Giants with 2 outs to put their rally together, with Chapman hitting one to the gap, Lee singling, and Casey Schmidt singling to drive in 3 runs with 2 outs. 2-out hits, the absolute key to life. I love it. So it was fun to watch. By no means did it feel like, hey, the Giants' offense is back, but like they finally strung something together. That's what feels like is missing. Like they're getting hits, they're just not driving guys around.
Yeah, Landen Roupp and Robbie Ray are clearly, they're 1-2 punch right now. I know it's the 2-3 punch, technically speaking, but they are, kind of starting back to back like that. And he has just been great. 2.38 ERA, which actually is 21st in the entire league, which is pretty awesome. 0.97 WHIP is 18th in the league. Robbie Ray is right there at 2.42 as well, and slightly above a 1 WHIP. So those 2 guys have just been, fantastic. The rest of the rotation, Molly, you were talking about him. He crapped the bed, 8 earned runs in 4 innings. His ERA now stands at 7.23. Hauser's at 5.06 and Webb's at 5.25. I'm really, so far, I know it's only been 4 starts for him, but been very disappointing so far in Logan Webb. He's had 1 really good start. I guess he's had 2 quality starts out of those 4, but he's been really hit hard in 2 other starts. So it's been very frustrating.
Yeah, one of those was not a quality start, even though he got a quality start in that one. He pitches tomorrow in Washington. Yeah, Webb's been the disappointment. I don't feel like he's had a good start at all. But Robbie Ray and Roupp's numbers being like almost exactly the same is crazy. Tyler Mahle, poor guy. He makes his first start against his former team. I think the team he came up with, the Reds. And facing them, he's now faced all 30 teams. And then he goes out there and he gives up 2 3-run homers to Sal Stewart of the Reds, who, by the way, did exactly what a good hitter should do with pitches. They were both high and away, and he drove them both to the right center field. It was beautiful. The problem was Mahle had no idea where the freaking ball was going last night. So it kind of it's made you appreciate Landen Roupp today so much more, because he was able to pound those guys inside, and that's why they only got 1 hit. And a hat tip to the bullpen. Ryan Walker locked in. Keaton Wynn, I believe, got the 8th, and Eric Miller with the save and the shenanigans at the end.
Shenanigans at the end. Yeah, we're bringing up Sal Stewart I guess yesterday. It's what you do, right? You go with the pitch, especially in that ballpark, because that first one especially was a wall scraper. The second one I think was in the second row, but that first one was literally like 339 or 343 feet, something like that. It was so short. It's a ball that might have almost been caught at Oracle Park. Like, it certainly wouldn't have been gone. It would have been maybe off the base of the wall, but that's what you get at that ballpark. And so the Giants were playing there, right? Like, they could hit home runs too. And did they?
I think
not
Willie,
much,
right?
Not many.
Yeah. Well, Willie's went the opposite way too. I texted you guys his home run Stewart's remind me of my wiffle ball swings, because quite literally the wiffle ball field that we played on in my early 20s, we'd get together on the weekends, play 2-3 games, drink, run all over. We had a fence, bases, a mound, all sorts of fun stuff. And it was surrounded by trees, this wiffle ball field. So there were always trees in play to keep your ball in the play area. But the one tunnel without trees was right center field. And, since it was just a bunch of buddies, it wasn't like baseball buddies, it was just buddies. I was one of the more talented players, and I just tailored my swing to just keep hitting balls to right center field to hit them over the fence.
Yeah.
And that's the exact kind of thing. Like any high outside pitch, you just attack it. And that's what Stewart looks like with that kind of hitting. The Reds themselves, all their runs came off of home runs in the series. And like you said, where are the Giants' home runs? We had one from Adames. That was it, the entire 3 games.
Yeah, they hit 4 the entire week. That's it. Adames had 2 of them. And then Jung Hoo Lee had 1, and Casey Schmidt had 1. I mean, we were just talking about this. Mike Trout, he's hit 5 in 4 games in Yankee Stadium. He's hit more home runs in 1 series than the Giants have hit in 2 series as a team. Think about that. That's crazy. It continues to just mystify me. And it's just frustrating because here they are. It's technically 1 more game, 20 games. They'll be an eighth of the way through the season, basically. But they played 19 games. So they're roughly an eighth of the way through the season. And with their winning percentage sitting here at 7-12, that's on pace for a 60-win, 102-loss record. Now, am I suggesting that's what they're going to end with? No, of course not. They're not going to have 7-12 records or 7-13 records every 20-game section here. But that's just kind of the ball they're playing right now. And, the Giants haven't lost over 100 games since 1984. I mean, they came close in 2017. I think they lost 97. But they have not, kind of hit that low water mark. And here we are, 42 years. So it's something to just be cognizant of. I don't fear that. I do still think the Giants can pull to a 500 team. But they're 5 games under 500 right now. Last place in the NL West. Already 7.5 games back of LA. I mean,
an entire week. We're 3 weeks into the season,
dude. Like, let's be serious here. I mean, when they're 7.5 games back in July, you're like, that's a decent amount back, but they got time. Yes, they have more time right now. But it's just so demoralizing when the defending back-to-back world champs who have all the money in the world and players who defer their contracts and an all-star team and some guys, they're even hard to hate on that team. I'm thinking of like Mookie Betts and Freeman and even Shohei. Yeah. It's hard. It's hard to swallow that the Giants are already in a 7.5 game hole. That's just ridiculous. The Dodgers have the best record in the majors right now.
Yeah, I noticed something on the broadcast this week. When they hyped that the Dodgers are coming to town next week for the first time, they have made it a point to say Shohei Ohtani looks to be starting Wednesday's game. So even the Giants brand themselves are trying to sell Shohei Ohtani. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous at this point that even the arch rival is saying, come see Shohei Ohtani, which is just absolutely crazy to me. But the Dodgers are as good as the Dodgers are going to be. The Giants, 7-12, okay? They're 1-10 when their opponent scores first, and their one comeback win was being down 1 run, and that one run was scored in the top of the first, and they came back and tied it immediately in the bottom of the first. So other than that, they've never come back from being behind in a game, basically.
Yeah.
And they're 6-2 when they score first. It's just kind of ridiculous. Like they have to hit early, but they're not hitting at all. It doesn't matter what inning it is. I was looking up numbers earlier, and it's like they've scored 5 runs in the 7th, 5 in the 8th, and like 3 in the 9th. It's kind of been a sad state of affairs, no matter which portion of the game you're looking at with them. But that seems to be indicative. They've only played 2 1-run games this year. They're 1-1 in those games. Everything else has been 2, 3, 4-run games or more. The Giants, it's very, very extreme with what we've seen so far from them. And obviously not sustainable, being the 2nd worst record in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, let's drift back to the Baltimore series for a second. Now, Willie, who's not here, did a great job recapping that series. So we're going to continue to do that. So if we record weekly, of course, we won't do a recap for that last series before our podcast, but in between, we'll be doing series recaps. If we miss weeks, we'll be trying to do recaps for those as well. So he did the recap for Baltimore. And again, it seemed like, the Giants may have turned the ship around a little bit heading into that, with a couple of wins and then winning that first game in Baltimore. You're like, okay, they're 6-8. This is great. This is early in the season. Within a week, maybe they'll be at 500. They'll be sitting at 10-10 or something like that. And yeah, they lost consecutive games 6-2, and they really weren't in either one of those. They were just kind of boring losses in a way, Eric. There wasn't anything dramatic to talk about. in particular. It was just, it's like that meme of the guy with a stick going, do something, just poking at it. It's like, do something, Giants. It was just lackluster baseball. And I find myself now, it's difficult sometimes because I can't watch a lot of sports all the time because I'm so busy with the family and my work and my rehab and everything like that. But sometimes, another baseball game is on and I'm like, oh, this is quality baseball. You know what I mean? Right? Like, it's kind of sad, but I'm tending to be almost 50-50 split. I mean, if I can't, I don't always have time to sit down and watch the Giants game exactly when they're playing. So sometimes I'm like, oh, the Giants already played or they play later and another game's on. But I'm like, oh, wow, there's some hits in this game. This is great. This is fun. Oh, it's 5-3. It's competitive. It's not everyone is whiffing here. Like, I don't know. It's kind of the early vibe I've been getting. Even the Dodgers game, against the Mets the other night, I was watching like 3 innings of that. And I'm like, what am I doing? It's the Dodgers. Why am I watching this? Like, I felt embarrassed. I felt like I was cheating or something. Like, it's like, what's going on here? But it was like, there's quality players out there. I mean, the Mets aren't having a great season either. They're like right there with the Giants. So I'm not saying the Mets.
They're around the same record. Yeah, Atlanta beat the crap out of Cleveland the other night on Sunday Night Baseball, and I happened to watch it. And it was just entertaining to see Atlanta score runs, string hits together, things Giants don't do, and make plays in the field. And the other funny thing about it was the guys that were coming through for them were Dubon, Yastrzemski, and Dominic Smith. It was like, hey, I was like, this is what this team could have been. This is what watching fun baseball is.
Yeah, Smith has been lighting it up. I know he's like on the minor league contract minimum right now, but he is just absolutely tearing the ball apart right now. So, I mean, look, he's a career 100, runs created kind of player. So he's kind of right at league average, but he's having a great start to the season. Is someone the Giants could potentially use right now. And speaking of which, the Giants did have to make a couple of moves this week. One of them, there may be something to it. We don't know. But Harrison Bader, who did have a hamstring issue at the end of spring training, that was a documented fact before he started crapping the bed, was hitting 115 or whatever it was. So they said, okay, we're going to put him on the shelf. They put him on the IL, along with Oliva, who had a hamate fracture in his hand. And they called up Drew Gilbert and Will Brennan. And it was fun to watch the social media reaction, with Gooey Bear, whatever they nicknamed him, coming up with all the memes.
Goo Bear. It's on his,
Goo Bear. And all the gifs of him, doing his crazy, choking Matt Chapman stuff and banging his head and all that stuff. I mean, look, I'm not going to say no to the kid. He's great. He's great energy in the dugout. I think it's hard to sustain that for 162 games. Not suggesting he's going to be up for that long, but so far him and then Will Brennan, they're hitless in their first couple of games with the club. So, nothing's happened with those moves quite yet. Now, the 6'7" guy that we have down in AAA that we thought was going to start the season with the Giants has still not been called up. Now, granted, he's not an outfielder, but I'm almost at the point where it's like, just bring him up anyway. Seriously. Like, now you're not really going to slot him in at DH. Casey Schmidt's doing a good job right now. He's hitting the ball well. You can't really remove him from that. Devers, they paid the big money to. He's got a couple of big flies, but, nothing more than that. He hit 208 this week. So, yeah, you could take, Devers off for a day or something like that, but he's not going to replace Devers. So there is kind of a bit of a traffic jam, but I'm not suggesting a 6'7" guy goes play the outfield, but at the same time, it couldn't really be any worse than what they have right now. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, it's the lightest hitting outfield I've ever seen.
Ever.
With the way they were going. Yeah, Jung Hoo really stepped it up. He's been on fire the last week.
Yeah, it had a good week.
Ramos has had to got. No, that's not the way to say it. Ramos has been benched twice in the last week as well in favor of matchups, I guess. I mean, I understand getting Will Brennan. Will Brennan was a major league starter with, I want to say Cleveland. In the outfield, so I mean, he's had his shot. So apparently, they think well enough of him. But it's just the absolute lightest hitting outfield I've ever seen. Casey Schmidt's been a revelation. Although it's just funny because he got hot. They moved him up in the order, and then he did not have a good game. And then today he gets moved back down, and he has a nice contribution to the lineup. Yeah, whenever he gets moved up, he starts regressing a little bit. I just looked that up, and but he's been pleasant. But Bader, I don't know, man. The guy was trying to hit the ball out of the yard every single pitch.
Every single pitch. I mean, that's the thing. It's very frustrating to watch him, do that. It's like, bro, you got 2 strikes. Like, let's just, you're down by 4 runs. Don't try to hit home run. What are you doing?
Right. Like, I think even Eldridge would be fine to get in at bat in a situation like that. I mean, you want it's so confusing. You want Devers to stay engaged, so you don't want to just slot him into the DH position. And then if you do slot him into the DH position, what the hell do you do with Casey Schmidt? Because you're not going to put him in second because Arise is there. You're not going to put him at short because Adames is there, and you're not going to put him at third because Chapman is there. Like, it's so confusing what they have to do with Eldridge right now, and Schmidt's not making it easy. He's one of the few standout guys that's been taking care of business so far. But it would be nice to have another left-handed bat off the bench. I hated how righty heavy they were. That it's one thing I do like about the Gilbert and Brennan call-up is they get a little more left-handed. So I appreciate that. And so Tony V can mix and match a little more than he was able to before. But, I mean, that's the thing with Eldridge. I don't know what the right time to bring him up is because I don't know how he's going to be able to figure out getting playing time. Is outfield the answer? And I don't think he wants to go out there.
I don't think so
I'm
either.
not sure it's been discussed.
I'm being half facetious there, obviously. I don't think, it's panic button pushing time where you do something very unorthodox like this. You know what I mean? So I get it. But he's hitting well in AAA right now. He's on a bit of a tear. He's hitting over 300 with a couple of bombs. So what do I have his stats here? 358, 2 bombs, 11 ribbies, 53 at bats, but he still has the 20 Ks. So that strikeout bugaboo is still there. It's tough right now because I think it would be easier if, let's say, Bader was hitting at Schmidt's level and Schmidt, they swapped and Schmidt was hitting like Bader. No question. I think he's called up and he's slotted into the DH position. But you can't do that. I mean, Schmidt's doing his job right now. He's hitting over 300, so with a couple of bombs, so he's been doing fine. It's crowded right now. You can't really slot him into the outfield. At least I don't think at this point. I don't think it's a good idea. But the Giants as a collective outfield, I know that their stats the other day, it was really horrible. It was like 153 or something. Yeah. But I do know that the center field position right now, which includes mostly Harrison Bader, but now other people, they're hitting 108. 108. Like, Tim Lincecum's career batting average is higher than that. Like, come on.
Great comp.
It's like, dude.
That's hysterical.
Right? That's not good.
The other thought about Eldridge is you don't need to like fill a middle of the lineup slot all of a sudden. Like if Devers goes down or Schmidt goes down, that would open up a hole in the top half of the lineup. Well, Schmidt towards the bottom half, because you think about where Devers hits, where Arise, Chapman, and Adames hit. They're all going to be hitting in the first 4 slots all the time, and then it's going to rotate underneath them after that. That's been another bugaboo with the Giants so far, is they haven't been able to settle on an exact lineup. And the way Jung Hoo's hitting lately, I think he could get back to the top of the lineup if he keeps this up. I don't know. Maybe he's down in the lineup, less pressure. That's what the key is. But you don't need Eldridge to fill a hole because you have the same core 4 you're going to have as the meat of your lineup. So I can't see a situation where they rush him up. I think he's going to spend most of the year in Sacramento unless there's an injury.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, right? We're talking first base and DH. That's it. That's all he's good for. So it's going to have to take an injury or something like that to Schmidt or Devers to really affect it. Schmidt, if he went into a horrific slump, maybe they would think about bringing him up. But Devers, they just pay him too much money. That's plain and simple. They're not going to bench him and bring up well, I guess he's not really a rookie, but I'm just going to call him rookie. They're going to call up the rookie to replace Devers, even if he's in a prolonged slump. That's just not going to happen. They're paying him too much money. And
Eldridge isn't like some defensive wizard. I mean, no. I believe you'd get the same kind of play between Eldridge and Devers at first base. So there's no real advantage in that situation either.
No, not at all. But I mean, the Giants, they have to figure this out at some point. Again, only an eighth of the way in. That's not even a month of the season. They play 6 months. So they've had bad months before in the middle of the season, and we kind of go, it's a bad month. Magnified a little bit more right now. But they got 9 home runs as a team through 19 games. I mean, Jordan Walker of the Cardinals has 8 by himself. That's not good. The Dodgers top the league at 33. I mean, Jesus Christ. They're almost 4 times as much as the Giants. And then the median right in the middle is 18. It's still double what the Giants have. I mean, they're 3 behind the next team who has 12. I think there's the Royals or something. Runs per game, ironically, they won today with 3 runs, but their average was 3.06 coming into today, and now it's 3.05. So they won while lowering it. Their runs per game is 29th. They're like 0.01 ahead of the Royals, I believe. So they're basically last. Average, they're a little bit better, 240, 11th in the league, so just above average. But their power and their on-base capabilities are just non-existent, and that's why even with the average, their on-base percentage is 28th, Eric. You have 11th ranked batting average, but 28th ranked on-base percentage. You think they don't take walks here? I mean, come on.
Exactly.
That is
I'm going to look right now.
Embarrassing. I did see last week someone posted they had the lowest walk rate, not only in the majors this year, but like in modern baseball since like 1980 something or 1970 something. I don't know. It was some ridiculous length of
38 walks, 19 games.
Yeah, it was something like a 5-point-something% walk rate, by plate appearance.
Yeah,
like
I saw that too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the lowest in modern history in the last like several decades. So that's
they have
why
8 fewer walks than the Arizona Diamondbacks, who have 46. So they are the least walking team in Major League Baseball.
So correspondingly, with their lack of slugging and home runs, their OPS is 26th in the majors at 633. Ooh. That's pretty rough, man. I mean, on-base percentage of 286. That's ouch. That's horrible.
Yeah.
That's just talk about stinking. And then, of course, the traditional stat the Giants never excel at, which is stolen bases. 5. 5. There are 15 players in the major leagues, Eric, that have 5 or more by themselves. 15 players, not 1, not 2, not 10, 15. Wow. The Brewers as a team in the league. 27. Yeah. Almost 6 times what the Giants have.
I didn't see that was in the notes. I was just looking at the stats. That's funny.
It's like, come on, guys. Like, I know they don't build this team around speed. I get it. But let's just put it this way. They don't employ speed at any particular occasion. They just don't. They don't use it at all.
Thrown out each of the last 2 games.
What was that?
Both games, Adames got thrown out the last 2 games. He got thrown out stealing.
Yeah, I didn't check their
he's not a leadoff guy.
Cut stealing rate here, but I know that's not great either. But
no, it's not great. And their defensive catching stealing hasn't been great either. It took them like 2 weeks to throw out their first base runner.
Yeah.
So,
Which, by the way, we'll talk about Susac in a little bit, but Susac, that one throw he made from his knees, wow, that was incredible. I think it was in Baltimore. He nailed that guy.
He's an athletic dude.
The ball was like right on the bag and got his foot. I mean, that was incredible. I was like, damn, bro. So, yeah, he's got some talent. There's no doubt about it. I mean, he was drafted in the first round, and you looked that up before, and I remembered reading that too. So, yeah, it's not like he wasn't a highly rated prospect. And then just to wrap it up for the stats, the pitching stats improved a little bit after today's game because of the one-hit shutout, but they are 19th in ERA. Their starters, however, are 21st with a 4.34. And their pen is about average at 14th with a 3.90. So their pen now is actually slightly better than their starters. And this is just ERA. WHIP is 20th at 1.35, and batting average against is 19th at 2.38. So they hit 240 as a team and allow a 2.38 average. So they're just about the same on both ends of the spectrum there. And then, like I said before, only 4 home runs this week, which actually is a slight uptick of their normal home run totals for a week. But yeah, Trout hit 5 in 4 games, so there's a good comparison. So
hit 5 in 2 games. Like, please, just fun.
True,
just fun.
Right? So what do the Giants do now about? Okay, so Bader, he was an obvious problem, and they put him on the shelf, whether it's warranted or not. A real injury or not. Okay, he's gone for 10 games or longer. What do we do with Patrick Bailey, man? Like, obviously, we still always talk about his defensive metrics, but the dude is hitting a buck 08 or a buck 18, something like that. He was 1 for 13 this week. 1 for 13. That what? He's got 6 hits and like 47 at bats. Susac already has 9 hits in like 16 at bats. So he's already got 50% more hits in a third of the at bats. Now he's not going to hit 538 or whatever for the year. I get it, but I mean at this point, it is starting to get a little bit more glaring. To me, Bailey, and we were talking about this before the show, 6 hits were all singles, and I've seen at least 3 of them, and they are not frozen ropes. I mean, these are things that are blooping out in the outfield. And so, I don't know, this guy just looks, he's never been a great hitting catcher. We all know this. But he looks like he's going up with a wet noodle at the plate. I mean, you don't expect anything from the guy. It's almost as if he was a pitcher when pitchers used to hit. He's kind of like that new slot. That's not something that you want.
He's an auto out. He grounded into a double play today. Through the first 6 innings, the Giants only sent the minimum 18 guys to the plate because even though they got 3 base runners on, one was thrown out stealing and the other 2 were erased on double plays. Mm-hmm. It was kind of weird how that happened. Susac is with Bailey and Susac just needs to keep hitting. He has to just force the conversation, not just hitting. When he's behind the plate, you mentioned he made a nice throw. He's shown that he's good on challenges so far. I don't know what his exact numbers are, but he definitely has command and presence when he's out there. He seems very trustworthy as a catcher. And so you got to wonder what Bailey's positive attributes, outweigh Susac, hitting the ball compared to Bailey not. So I think the only way this gets resolved is if Susac just continues to put the pressure on. And if he's hitting, 400 or better after April, then you should have a serious conversation about starting Susac 3 games a week and Bailey 2 games a week, something like that. Because at this point, it does hurt the club a little bit when you're just going to get an auto out in the 9-hole.
Yeah, and Bailey, I mean, he has to see a little of this. I'm sure he feels a little bit of this, but
he's got to.
Yeah, he has to, because he knows his own stats are just so pathetic, and they haven't been good for a couple of years, but this year is really, really bad, and he's got to see this young kid coming up. I'm sure he's happy for him, but at the same time, he's probably like, dude, cool off, man. But he's also, he's not Buster Posey, he's not Mike Piazza, he's not Pudge Rodriguez, he's not any of these guys that are like untouchable. I mean, Bailey, is the solid choice and has been the solid choice, but things change, man. And, if you're just getting zero production out of him, maybe it's time. Maybe it's time, like you said, we, maybe start evening this out a little bit, give him an extra start a week, see how he handles that, how Bailey handles it. If the success continues, you start creeping in that direction. I don't see why not. And there's not much harm to that. I don't care if Bailey gets butt hurt. That doesn't matter. That's right. They're professionals, right? They have to expect this. Yep. It's not like he's been taken out for no reason. So I'm just.
I mean, for all we know, we're watching a Hall of Fame career in Daniel Susac start. You
never know. It's true.
You don't want Patrick Bailey to be the thing that gets in the way of that.
No.
So he's got about 2 more weeks to make sure his shit's together, or Susac is going to definitely start creeping in on him.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't quite Benji Molina being replaced by Buster Posey, but
no,
because Benji was a little bit older than Bailey is right now. But man, once Buster took over, there was no looking back, and they traded his ass to Texas, and then they saw him in the World Series, which was really weird.
That's why Susac has to force the issue. He has to make them make the choice. He really does, and I'm kind of rooting for him.
Yeah, no, I'm very much rooting for him at this point. His older brother, obviously, we followed when he was with the Giants a long time ago. And, his family is obviously very supportive. I don't dislike Bailey at all. I want Bailey to perform. But, it's like as a Giants fan, I don't have any allegiance to Patrick Bailey. He's not my favorite player. He's not, oh my God, I don't want to see him fail. No, I don't want to see him fail. But if he's not going to produce, I don't want to see him just stuck in there, just beating their head against the wall, just repeating the same mistake over and over and over again. So it's kind of frustrating. I was going to say, I always think back to that with Benji Molina being traded to the Rangers, that he still got a World Series ring. It's one of the few times where a player, was guaranteed a ring no matter what. That's the weirdest thing about it. He's like going to that World Series going, well, I get a ring either way. So
I wonder if he keeps it out and displays it somewhere, or if it's just like put away in a safe deposit box or something like that. Like, I wonder,
it's got to be a strange feeling, because
yeah,
obviously the Giants, he wasn't with them for very long. Certainly wasn't with the Rangers for very long. So I wouldn't say he has an allegiance to either team over the other, but it is kind of strange. Yeah, if he's wearing or displaying the Giants World Series ring somewhere, and they're like, "Didn't you play for Texas in that World Series?" Well, yeah, but I played for the Giants at the beginning of the season, so like, okay, cool.
If they didn't trade me, they don't win.
Yeah, exactly. They don't trade me, they don't get Buster. So see, I had something to do with it, guys.
Right. Yep.
If it wasn't,
I was
for
an
me,
integral part of that team. Right.
Let's talk about real quickly who's hot, who's not. We mentioned some of these guys already. Jung Hoo Lee did have a great week. 435 with a bomb. I mean, that's just really, really refreshing to see. And so hopefully he continues on that trajectory. Schmidt, great, 333 with a bomb. Adames, 261 is fine, but he had 2 bombs and led the team this week with 2 home runs. Wow. Landen Roupp had 2 starts this week. 12 innings, only 1 earned run, only 6 hits, and a .83 whip. Most of that being the 1-hitter through 6 he threw today. And then Susac, even though he didn't get a lot of playing time, he still went 3 for 9 with 3 RBI this week. Bailey, like I said, only has 6 hits this year. Susac already has 9. Susac already has he has a double and a triple. And Bailey has no extra base hits so far. And of course, Bailey has 1 RBI. Susac has 5. I mean, I just think it's a no-brainer right now, but we'll see what they do. And then who's not? Chapman and Devers each hit 208 this week. Chapman has started the season off real hot, so obviously you're going to give him some time. Devers is just a guy that you just, this massive trade that they made for him last year, which I still think overall was a good trade, although we're looking at, a Dodgers prospect, James Tibbs III, just tearing it up in AAA, and that was whom the Giants traded to the Red Sox for Devers, and the Red Sox traded him to LA later. So yeah, we'll see what he does. Bailey, aforementioned Bailey, 1 for 13 this week, and then Malley was 8 earned runs in 4 innings in his start. So again, not a great week overall. I'm not used to talking about the Giants for 3 straight weeks being poor like this. It's been kind of frustrating start to the year. You walk in, as we were talking about in our season preview, just, smelling the fresh cut grass, and everyone's starting fresh at 0-0. And you just have all these hopes and aspirations for this team. And, the starter gun goes off, and our team is the one that fell flat on their face, right at the gun. And everyone's got a head start. That's what it feels like. There's a whole lot of track to make up, and it's possible. But man, it's just playing from behind is really, really difficult. No one expected them to compete for the National League West. But I think now that nail can already be put in that coffin. That horse could already be shot. I'm just saying. That's not even worth a conversation at any point. We're just hoping that the wild card situation is something the Giants can kind of hang around in. Being 4 back right now, it's, fine, whatever. They still have plenty of time.
They're 5 games under 500, and that's why I brought up earlier that they're 1-10 when the opponent scores first. Like anytime they get down, you can just kind of tune out almost. It hasn't been really fun to watch. That's why today's game was a nice little pleasant surprise. But even then, it didn't feel like, oh my God, the Giants are back. It was just like, okay, they put together some good hits and had some good pitching. So they've been kind of a tough watch. They really have. It's a little frustrating. You want to see. There's been some fight, though, in the last 2 games. JT Brubaker getting all annoyed last night, and then today between two Reds got hit by pitch, and then Adames got hit by a pitch, and then Miller screaming F you, F you, F you at the Reds players after it ended. Sal Stewart turned and Miller came in a little aggressively, but he was just kind of charging towards Susac, and Sal Stewart said something. So Miller was like, get the F out of here, waving him away. And then some of the Reds players were coming back out, and Miller's just pointing them one by one, just saying, like, if you've ever seen Half Baked, any of you Gen X stoners out there, when the short little Hispanic dude quits his crappy restaurant job, he leans into the microphone and he screams out, F you, F you. And he sees an old lady, you're cool, F you, F you. And it was like literally the same exact situation. Miller just kept pointing at random Reds, you, fuck you. And then finally he got kind of escorted away, as well as Stewart did by I saw Stevenson of the Reds had him escorted away. Good veteran leadership right there. And Tony, after the game, was asked about it, and he's like, I'm not sure what led to all of that. I don't know if that was because of the Adames home run the other night leading up to this, which I don't think it had anything to do with. I think the Reds and Spencer Steer getting hit after he pissed off not Baraki. What's the other guy's name? I just said his name. Thank you. Brubaker, stupid bees. That he pissed off Brubaker the night before. So, the Reds were on edge with him getting hit by a Giants pitcher the next day. So I thought that was cool. They had a little edge coming out of this. So hopefully this is life, because they've been such a boring watch. Maybe, like you said, Drew Gilbert can inject some energy into this team. Maybe they can take a nice happy flight to Washington, and we can actually see some good baseball being played. Because like you said, I'm tired of watching other teams' games and being like, "Whoa, that's how baseball is supposed to be played." I'd like to see our Giants do that right now.
Yeah, it was weird. I couldn't really figure out what happened at the end of the game either, and even reading articles of reporters that were there, they're not even 100% sure. They just kind of put together the timeline of what may have contributed to it. And you mentioned some of them. Another one was, when Brubaker was on the mound and Steer called for time probably way too late. The ump granted it to him, and he got pissed off, and then they kind of yelled back and forth, F you, throw the effing ball, that kind of thing. And then later Steer was hit, and then Adames was hit, and it kind of went back and forth. I don't know. It just seems like it was just kind of building up a little bit for the day. And then the fact that, Sal had 2 bombs in the day yesterday with 6 ribbies, and he was the last out of the game today. Maybe part of it was like, yeah, take that, and F you, and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. It just seemed like men being boys, getting their egos hurt and bruised, and they had to show off to each other. They're just, a bunch of primates, doing their alpha thing. I don't know. It's stupid. But
I shared the meme, or I shared the GIF of that scene from Half Baked I was talking about, with Eric Miller to the Reds.
Yeah, you're cool.
And I got 2 salty Reds fans in my mentions going, enjoy the basement of the NL West, and Reds to the Giants. We won the series. Like, dude, it's not that serious. It was just funny as hell in that moment.
Yeah.
Like, if they played another game in this series, there might have been a fight tomorrow. So maybe it's good that the Giants are getting
That's probably a good thing. Yeah, they're getting the heck out of Cincinnati. So, and by the time the Reds come back to San Francisco, I'm sure people are going to kind of forget about it. So hopefully nothing gets inflamed then. So you know what? Look, we've increased our podcast frequency. We love the Giants. Of course, we wish they would kind of respond in kind by playing better. that would help us feel better about this. But we have some competition directly from the Giants. But apparently Logan Webb has launched a new MLB Network radio show on SiriusXM, which is called Logan's Web. He's expected to host 2 shows per month throughout the 2026 regular season, giving him a platform to share his thoughts of the state of the game and pull back the curtain on life in the big leagues. And he was quoted as saying, "My agents reached out to me and said there was an opportunity to do something with SiriusXM. I thought it would be fun. I've done a couple of podcasts. I did the Chris Rose one for a decent amount. And then I went to Mookie Betts last year. I had a good time doing it. Just thought it was a good opportunity." So I haven't listened to it yet, but I did check it out. And they published his first episode last week on April 10th. So I'm not encouraging you to replace our podcast with his, but I am encouraging you to check it out, maybe supplement. But, listen to TortureCast first, and then listen to Logan's Web, I guess he's calling it.
All we know, though, that's a future Hall of Fame broadcaster right there. I mean, Kipe had a radio show when he was on the Giants way back in the day as a player.
Yeah.
So, maybe he's launching a whole new career. And they really reached there with that Logan's Web name for the show. I mean, boy, they really stretched hard for that one. It's just,
I know.
I don't know. Logan, I think of Logan's Run kind of almost for some reason there. And I don't really want to associate that with Logan Webb. So, I mean, good for him, but still, we're cranking out more content than he is. He's only doing it, every other week. So
yeah, like he's playing the major leagues or something. I mean, come on. He only pitches every fifth day. I mean, I'm just saying. That's not that much. Maybe
this is why he's struggled so far to start the season. This new radio show is just so heavy on his mind, and he's panicked about which guys he should ask to be guests on it. So maybe he's bringing that out to the mound with him, and or if maybe he can explain to us why he's had such a rough start to the season on the show. I don't know. I'll have to check out that first episode, see what it's like.
Yeah. No, he's a good listen too. So the few times I've talked to him, he responds to questions well. He's kind of a deep thinker. He's a good interview. So hopefully that does well for him, but doesn't affect his performance on the field. All right. So I already talked about injuries. Only two of them. It was Oliva and Bader. They're both on the 10-day IL. We'll see what happens with their return. Brennan and Gilbert were called up. And then coming up, 3 in Washington, off day on Monday. And then they're back home to play the Dodgers. And it's just like, I'm telling you, Eric, if they don't have a good series in Washington, I mean, they got to take 2 out of 3. They have to at this point. I mean, they're digging that hole deeper and deeper. They can't afford to lose much more ground before they are, it's going to be too hard to overcome. But, winning 2 out of 3 now is kind of expected against a team like Washington, because I'll be honest, coming home against the Dodgers, you don't expect the Giants to win 2 out of 3. You just don't. You just hope they win 1. And only lose 1 game to the Dodgers. Yep. And that's kind of the level of thinking we're at. And you mentioned that the Giants are even promoting Shohei now pitching, which is crazy to me, which is absolutely insane to me. And, he's off the charts right now. I think he had no earned runs coming into the game against the Mets, and he allowed 1 run, still had an excellent game. So he actually has an ERA now or something. Yeah, he's just, he's a freaking unicorn, man. That dude, I swear. It's just incredible. Yeah. But so it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough road. And then after that, Miami comes in. I'm hoping that we get back on the podcast with episode 337 next Thursday afternoon during the 3rd game against the Dodgers, or perhaps Friday afternoon. Eric and myself and Willie will talk about it. But in the meantime, I'll be recapping. I'm going to call it a series kneecap soon, Eric.
Yeah, right. We haven't had a winning one yet. The only winning series
they've had. Back for another series kneecap.
Right? I mean, it's like getting kicked in the groin. Like, okay, great. I got to talk, I'm going to talk by myself for 15 minutes about how crappy this team was the last 3 games. It's so frustrating. Like, throw us a bone, Giants. Help us out, man. They've only won 2 series all year, and we just happen to record right after both those series, the Padres and the Phillies series. Yeah. Like, it really would have helped if they had, started finding how to hit in Cincinnati. Seriously, I'm so annoyed. Like, you go into Cincinnati and that's what you put up offensively. Yeah, I'm glad they won today, but that's ridiculous. It just should be so much more hitting coming from this lineup. So, please throw us a bone. Give Chad a series win. Maybe even sweep the Nats.
Nice.
They're 9-10. It's possible. They're not that great. They had to go to extra innings today to beat the Pirates, but they did. I was hoping it would go more. It was on when we first started recording. I was hoping it was going to go 11 or 12, but it was only 10. But please, help us out, Giants. Throw us a bone. Something. Anything.
Hey, guys, let's produce more content. We want to talk about the Giants more. Our fans want more of it. Yeah, so anyway. I think that when they win, we'll call it a series recap. When they lose a series, it'll be series kneecap.
That's how kneecap. I like it.
So anyway, look for that. I guess that would be on Sunday sometime. So we'll get this posted here on this fine Thursday afternoon. But you can check out everything that we do post on torchcast.com or at torchcast.com. You can follow us individually on Twitter at ChadK21 for myself, at 2OutHits, with the Giants had a few strung together today for Eric, and that's with the number 2. Actually, when that happened, when they got those few in a row, I was texting him. I'm like, hey, your favorite kind of hit. Here we go. And then you can email us at torchcast@gmail.com. There's something cleansing about 2 Out Hits, because I did have that foreboding feeling as it was scoreless, and I'm like, oh my God, the pitching's finally locked down, and their offense can't give them a break.
Yeah, my dad used to say that 2-out hits are the key to life. And he used to say it when we were watching playoff baseball. We wouldn't even be watching Giants baseball. We'd just be watching playoff baseball. And he'd point out how many games are swung when one team finally drives in those 2-3 runs with 2 outs, and how much of a backbreaker it is. So for those that don't know, that's the origin of 2-out hits for my name, is because it's something that my dad used to say. And it does. It lights up a whole dugout. It brings relief to the team. It's just one of those things. It's like cleansing, washing over you. You're totally right. It is. So that's why I am 2-out hits, because they're the key to life, and it's fun when they happen.
Yeah, it kind of atones for the missed opportunities earlier in the game. You just feel better about life.
Right.
It's just like, it's like a nice cool drink when you're parched. And so it was finally good to see the Giants break through a little bit there. So, and they needed all the runs. Hopefully they can win to Washington and at least have one laugher. I mean, in the winning format, that would be nice. They could start hitting the ball over the fence a little bit more, because like you said, Cincinnati scored like all their runs via the home run. This is frustrating. The Giants that's how they had to score today. They couldn't. It wasn't a bloop and a blast. It was a walk and a double and a single and another single and another single, and there was a walk in there somewhere. Anyway, it was just you had to play station to station baseball to score those runs today, which was great.
Wow.
But it'd be nice if they could, lock one down here with a couple.
Do you know who's starting tomorrow for Washington? It's old friend Zach Littell.
Oh, is it really? He's starting, huh?
Yeah, he's 0-1 with a 4.20 ERA. Blaze it.
Okay. Wow. Well, we'll see Littell tomorrow. Interesting. Well, that'll be fun.
Yeah, every pitcher. Yeah, all 3 pitchers that they're facing in Washington, none of them have won a game yet. They're combined 0-5. And the ERA for the Saturday starter is 4.6. The ERA for the Sunday starter, Miles Mikolas, is 11.49.
Yeah, so Mikolas has been the sacrificial lamb this year.
Good.
I've watched a couple of videos, one of them in particular. That's who he's been his whole life, his whole career, if you look at a lot of his stats from previous years too. He's the guy that is at the back end of the rotation, and when he used to be in the bullpen, he was the mop-up guy too. Because he's a freaking horse. He can just keep throwing. And so they just throw him to the slaughter. He gives up the most home runs. I think he's given up the most home runs in the majors in the last 4 years. Something to that effect. He just gets mashed. And he's a beating post. So they throw him out there. And if he gets touched up in the first 2 innings, they do not pull him. They're like, we need you, buddy. Sorry. They'll just stick him out there. And it's like that old Bugs Bunny, dun, 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 whack, dun, 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 whack. So
he's given up 6 bombs this year already.
There you go. So maybe the Giants can take advantage of him this year, because that's who he's always been, no matter who he's played for. Because before this, I think it was St. Louis, and the Cardinals used him like that as well. So kind of a shitty existence, I guess, but he'll take it, I guess. I don't know. So we just know if the Giants start scoring off of him, he's not going to get pulled early.
So they should keep scoring.
Maybe that's what the Giants need. They need a little healthy dose of Nicholas here, or Mikolas. That'd be nice. It's Mikolas time. All right, well, that'll do it for episode 336. We'll be back in a week for 337. Like I said, the series recap for the Washington series on Sunday. I'll be providing that. And that's about it. I already gave everyone the deets there. You got anything going on, Eric?
No, not really, but I am watching most games and active on Twitter. So if you see me there and want to interact during the game, that's about the only time I'm on Twitter is during a game. So, or if I'm watching baseball of any kind, because that's why I signed up for this stuff in the first place, and that's what I keep my feed full of. Is mostly just baseball stuff. It's
and yet all the other stuff keeps creeping in somehow. I just can't stand it. It's frustrating.
I go to search. I search trending to go find out what's going on. I literally do not get a lot of news or politics in my feed. It's usually all sports.
That's
somehow,
good.
some way, my algorithm has been able to maintain itself pretty well.
Yeah, my algorithm unfortunately has not. And it's just like block.
Yeah, my Reddit one's all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Reddit all over the place. But Twitter, no, it's all sports.
Cool. All right, for Eric and for the aforementioned Willie, who couldn't make it today, this is Chad signing off. We'll see you this weekend, I will, for the series recap, and then next week. Until then, sweep the nets! Boom.
A big thank you to everybody for listening to the TortureCast, the podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. Follow us on Twitter at TortureCast. You can also like us on Facebook or check out our blog at torturecast.com. I also want to say thank you to Ashcon and Bailey for letting us use their song Feeling Like a Giant for our intro. For Ben Lee and Chad King, my name is Willie Dills saying, we'll see you next time.